Biztech's Jobs and Career Show. I am Jeffrey Halley. And today we have Hamza Idrissi, the Global Program Director for bestplacesToWork.org. Best Places to Work is a global organisation recognising excellence in people practices and employee experience. They deliver the Best Place to Work certification with a real impact on leaders, workplace culture, and employee engagement. And this is done by combining data-driven insights alongside human-centered solutions. With decades of experience in workplace culture, they work today with some of the world's best-known organisations, measuring, improving, and recognising their great engagement. To tell us more, let's welcome to the show Hamza, and welcome.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and I look forward to discussing with you more information about the results for 2023 survey, and then how we conduct the different assessments to the different organizations.
Wonderful. So for starters, perhaps you can give us all an overview of the Best Places to Work, the organisation itself, what it does, and what your role in the company actually is.
Sure. So again, thank you very much for this invitation. So Best Places to Work, it's an international certification provider. We've been actually in the market for the last 30 years. We work actually across different markets globally. And then we survey a number of employers every year, ranging from different industries. And we work also with organizations from different sizes, small, medium, and large corporations. Now, what we do basically is we really assess organizations based on two aspects. Like the first one is that we look at really, the quality of the practices and the programs and the initiatives that the employers are, implementing so that they can support and engage their employees. And we look at also what the employees are saying about their experience working for the employers. Right, so we survey the employers so that we can get a rating in terms of how they feel about the leadership, about the practices, about the compensation benefits, the teamwork and the relationships, etc. And then based on the assessments both of the HR and the employee, we come up basically with a scoring of the different organizations that are applying for the certification. Now, in order to be certified or recognized as a best place to work, you need to achieve at least a minimum score of 70%, so that you can be eligible for the certification. And all the companies that are certified, they can be part of a local, regional, or global ranking in terms of the most performing best places to work globally. And then we every year we establish basically the rankings across different markets, across different industries, across different regions, of the most performing organizations when it comes to the people management practices and also employee experience.
Right. Yeah. And as I was looking through the website today, actually, at your process, it's an extremely comprehensive process that takes 4 weeks for a company to move through from start to finish to achieve or not that certification.
Correct, exactly. I mean, we are one of the most competitive, basically, certification programs in the market in terms of the scoring. There are actually a number of programs where you can be named as the best place to work, when you can achieve maybe an average of 50 or 60, etc. So we have, I would say, the bar a bit, on the high side. So we really certify the most competitive, employers in the market. And as you've mentioned earlier, the certification process takes approximately 4 weeks, where we prepare, first like a kind of a kickoff, meetings with the employers just to prepare basically the company for the certification program. We run after that the different assessments, in the process, and then toward the end we decide whether basically the company is good enough to get the certification or not. And then whatever the result is, the companies can access to a very comprehensive platform at the end that can give them basically a kind of an overview in terms of their organization culture, in terms of the employee experience, along with different kind of benchmarks within the industry or even beyond. And then also, most importantly, the action plan in the areas that they can focus on so that they can improve the employee engagement and the employee experience, and also the practices, because this at the end of the journey will impact the business results. And this is how we work basically with different organizations.
Right. So what role do you see Best Places to Work playing in the shaping of the future of work globally? which has, of course,
Well,
changed dramatically over the last 4 years.
yeah, definitely. Well, I really believe that our work is really aligning, with the future of work, because a number of employers today are looking to improve, their organization culture, improve the employee experience, as I said earlier, because this is impacting their organization and the results at the end of the day. And as you know, today in the global market, there is a big a kind of a talent war to attract the best talents for the different businesses. So a lot of companies today, they use the best places to work for different reasons, like one, for employer branding, because this allows them to brand their company as an employer of choice, and this helps in terms of attraction and retention. And also we have a number of companies, they use the process in order to identify basically the strengths and the gaps, or the areas where they can basically improve, and then take this as an improvement process and a continuous improvement process, so that they can improve their practices and the employee experience at the end of the journey as well.
Right. Now, I was looking through the top places to work lists today, particularly through different countries around Asia or Asia Pacific in particular. And I noticed that it's multinational companies that appear to dominate these lists, these rankings at the moment. Is this just for multinational companies, or could national, regional, and APAC facing companies in this region also gain benefits from being ranked by yourselves?
A very good point. I mean, for the last couple of years, it's true that we have a number of multinational companies that are topping the lists, of the best places to work across country, region, or industry. But we are really working with a number of local companies, so that we can really help them basically improve their practices and also be in line with the international standards, so that they can be in the top ranking positions for the upcoming years. So again, it's not something only for multinational companies. Of course, we're open to work with different organizations that are seeking to improve and also be listed among the best places to work on the country list or the regional list. But we really see that multinational companies today have better scoring and better ranking when it comes to different certification lists.
And turning to the top of the rankings, I see that Novo Nordisk, which features prominently in many of the national rankings as well, but tops your global ranking as the top company to work for the second year in a row, in fact. Can you perhaps explain to our audience what are the specific strengths that Novo Nordisk is demonstrating in both employee experience as well as inclusive culture that puts them at the top of these rankings?
Right, definitely, yes. I mean, Novo Nordisk, has been on the top of the list for the last couple of years on a regional, but also on a different, countries lists. Now, particularly those companies that are topping the list, they demonstrate basically a very strong commitment from the leadership to support and engage the employees. We see that really through different kind of initiatives and programs they launch, whether for diversity and inclusion, whether related to women empowerment, whether through a number of initiatives to promote, for example, like the disability employment, etc. So those employers, they really demonstrate again a strong commitment towards supporting and engaging their employees, and at the same time they have some global and local initiatives. So some of the programs, they're actually implemented on the global level across the different affiliates, but they have also the local touch. It means that maybe some of the affiliates or some of the companies locally, they try to push those different initiatives even further, so that they can try basically to adapt them to the local market or to the local basically market initiatives, etc. And it shows really that the employers are going even beyond what's done in the market or the best standards to try to really innovate and provide a very inclusive workplace for their employees.
Right. And you've already touched on the specific criteria and processes that are used to rank these companies and what they need to do well and improve on in order to get that magical 70% certification level. But looking at the top 30 list, what are some of the overall trends and changes that you've observed in workplace culture compared to previous years?
Well, we've seen that, over the last couple of years, a lot of employers, have taken a number of initiatives and steps, in order to engage further their employees. A lot of employers found out that basically, engaging further the employees have a direct impact, on the business results. So what we've seen that a number of employers, are trying basically to, innovate, put in place a number of programs and initiatives, to create, further, efforts and further programs so that they can get the teams to work together, remove barriers. We are also talking about, flexibility in terms of the workplace, offering, employees the possibility to work, remotely. Also, a number of employers, we have seen that they're adopting, for example, like a full working day, week, offering their employees the possibility to have like a kind of a weekend over 3 days. Also, we have seen a number of employers also innovating when it comes to people management practices in terms of the recruitment, the onboarding programs that they're offering to their employees or new joiners. We've seen also a number of new approaches when it comes to learning and development, etc. So a lot of employers, basically they're looking at the best standards, but they're trying really to innovate again so that they can offer new programs and new initiatives to further again engage their employees so that they can keep those employees and especially the talents longer in their companies, and also help them as well attract new joiners to their companies.
Right. And looking to the future, I guess you get asked this question a lot, but what are your predictions for the future of work? And how do you see the best places to work contributing to a more positive and equitable workplace future?
Right. Well, one of the things definitely that we're working on is basically year after year, we're building a kind of a database of the best practices. And this is definitely collected from what the different employers are saying in terms of programs and policies, and the different inputs that they give us throughout the different audits and assessments that we're conducting. So this is something very interesting because it shows basically the best practices on a global level, on a regional basis, but also on a country basis and industry basis. So we have the possibility basically to look at the different trends and establish basically, the different, priorities and the different, programs that employers are focusing on, across different regions and different industries. And definitely this database could be very interesting, because it allows to see, again, the dynamics of the workplace across the different, countries and regions. And I think that one of the things also very important that we're focusing on as Best Places to Work organization is really the webinars and the events that we're organizing throughout the year. Those events are very are open to the public, to the HR professionals across the world. We do different kind of webinars focusing on different topics, where we try basically to bring some of the HR leaders from some of the certified companies so that they can share basically some of the programs or initiatives again that they are implementing, so that we can share basically knowledge and get other employers basically be inspired in terms of how they can conduct such initiatives or programs in their organizations. And I think this is very important. And we see a lot of basically feedback or positive feedback from different employers that are looking basically to learn more about what's done outside and how they can implement such initiatives in their organizations as well.
And as far as the implementation goes, and often this is the hardest part of a process of change, isn't it? Implementing and making it stick. Once your recommendations have been passed through after this process, and I did note the very comprehensive business intelligence dashboards that you produce for your clients. Are you following up with the implementation with these companies after you've been through the certification process, or does it tend to be this annual ranking exercise?
Very good point. Basically, what happened, we have a number of employers that are conducting the certification not only for 1 year, but they're doing the certification for multiple years. So the way how it works is that once we conduct the assessment the first year, now, of course, the company can be certified or not, but in case that they're certified, we still provide those different companies basically with a roadmap and an action plan in terms of the areas that they can focus on, and also how they can implement those different, improvements in their companies. And basically, the second year when we conduct, the assessment, we really, see the differences compared to the first year. and how the company succeeded in implementing some of the programs, and how some others, need some focus or refocus, in the organization. So there is a follow-up that is done kind of on a regular basis, so that we can see basically how the improvement plan, impacted the results of the company in the following cycle, and then again provide the company with a new basically action plan, providing them with the areas that they need to refocus on so that they can improve, their results for the following cycle.
And what advice would you give organizational leaders who are striving to create, excellent workplaces, especially in this ever-changing landscape of work itself?
I think one of the very important thing, that employers need to focus on, nowadays is really regular feedback. Because, I mean, if there is no feedback from the employees, then there is no way basically where you can, create this kind of continuous improvement plan. So I think that, employers, in the recent years, they came up basically with a number of strategies so that they can create this, continuous feedback, programs or strategies, etc., so that they can hear not only once a year, but on a frequent basis from their employees, around various factors, so that they can build, readjust, and improve, their different strategies. So I think that equipping the companies with different kind of feedback mechanism or programs or initiatives can be, of a strategic, importance, so that the employers can hear, on a frequent basis, and build again and readjust their strategies, for the short, medium, and long term.
Right, that's wonderful. And do you have any final thoughts for us, Hamza?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for arranging this, and we will be glad basically to share, with you maybe some of the, testimonials maybe, or kind of an interviews, from some of the leading companies that got the certification, and also top ranking, across APAC for 2023, so that, the audience will learn more about, the trends, and also the different programs and policies implemented by different, employers across the region.
Thank you. Hamza, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. I'm Jeffrey Halley, and you've been watching and listening to Biztech's Jobs and Career Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It will also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks so much for tuning in today.